Welcome to Country Tough with Brandy von Holten. Today I have a repeat person that I'm interviewing. It is my largest downloads person that I've ever interviewed, and it's a cowgirl by the name of Magen Warlick. Okay, so Magen, you live in, where do you live at in Texas?
Stephenville, Texas.
Stephenville, Texas. Now then, whenever people start looking for you, it is not Megan, it's Magen. It's Magen, but it's that E and that A are opposite of what you might traditionally think. So, and that's okay because my last name, everybody thinks it's Van, V-A-N, but it's V-O-N, Von Holten. So,
yep.
Those A's are messing both of us up, you know? So, all right. So, Magen, everybody loved listening to you because you just had this wonderful story about how you had difficult horses and about you had this this just fire about you. So, tell me, what have you been up to lately?
Yeah. So the last couple years, after all the COVID things, and I stayed home. And started training horses pretty much full time. I still maintained a few clinics, but of course, with the world turning upside down, things had to change a little bit. So I went through a really intense growth period in my horse training, going from a very structured way of approaching training and treating most horses with the same techniques has now turned into every horse is a total individual and every horse gets a little different version of me to bring out the best in each horse. And it's been a heck of a roller coaster journey, figuring it all out and experimenting and trying new things. But I'm noticing that the horses have benefited immensely from the change in me. So it's been fun.
Well, you know what, Magen? So everybody, so here's the deal. Like, if Magen and I were money, I would be a penny and she would be $100 bill. Okay, that's the difference in our horsemanship. Like, she's the real deal and y'all are just listening to me because y'all like my personality, okay? Like, I'm okay. But I wanted to tell you, like, you're talking about how you're different with each one of your horses. Girl, one time I forgot what horse I was on, and my mule, I mean, I can kind of spank on him a little bit, get him to go. He's kind of lazy. Girl, I was on the most reactive horse that I owned, and I forgot which one I was on. And I lit her up. Oh, my God. That horse ran sideways 15 steps, like zoom, and I was like...
You said what?
Yeah, she was not, she was a traditional mare where you had to be like, please be good today. Like, she's, my geldings and my mule, I can be like, this is what we're doing. But my mare, I feel like I have to get permission from her. And her name was Chalkboard, and I write children's book, and her book, she was my third children's book, and it's called Adventures at Von Holten Ranch Chalkboard. But she was reactive, and I lit her up within like the first 5 minutes of being on her, and at the time, I had one of my friends here, and they looked at me because they were like, I can't believe you just did that to her. And I was like, I can't believe I did either. And they're like, you forgot what horse you were on. So talking about how they're individuals, have you ever done anything like that? Probably not, seeing how you're Magen and like the professional horse trainer, and I'm Brandy who forgot what horse they were on.
Oh, no way, girl. No way. So, I used to not get along with all kinds of horses, right? Like most people have a general type. They like a hotter horse. They like a more laid back horse. They like a quicker footed horse. They like a slower footed horse, all the things. I used to not be able to adapt super well to the far ends of the spectrum, like the cold horses and the hot horses. Those were really tough. I'd either, get into a fight with the cold ones, getting them to go, or I would light a fire in those hot ones that I couldn't effectively put out. And there was no amount of repetition training and telling them over and over not to do that thing. None of the kind of traditional training techniques were helping consistently. It might make a momentary difference, but the next day the horse would come out and would be ready for that thing to happen that bothered them and gave them some anxiety or was dreadful or whatever. So now I feel like I can read horses better because I've expanded my understanding of horsemanship and all the training principles, much thanks to Warwick Schiller and his program that he puts out. It definitely set me on a path to understand why horses do the things they do, and not the dumbed down, they're hot or cold. Like there's actually a lot of in between stuff that I think people haven't considered that make a big difference. So, yeah.
Well, and you know what? With people not realizing that you can have a hot horse that's not always hot, it's just like women in general. I used to host these all-around cowgirl challenges where I had us do like 8 different things. But now I host these things called Chicks in the Sticks. And it's an all-inclusive women's-only event that we host at Von Holten Ranch, and it's got all their meals, and then we trail ride. And each one is only open to 23 people. We have a massage therapist. We go to this Mennonite lady's house for this homemade meal. I mean, that lady even makes the butter.
Oh, my God.
But I will have all walks of life. I will have people in there that are so scared. And then I'll have people that are amazing horseback riders, and I'll have people old, young, and all these different things. But if there's a lady, like she might not be the best horseback rider, but man, she excels at something else, or I have gotten all sorts of great knowledge from some novice people, but it just depends on their, it's kind of like, I'm not just one person. Like, girl, I used to be a full contact fighter, and then I compete in pie baking contest. So,
heck yeah.
So like having a horse that's multi-layered, it just makes sense because women, we're multi-layered. We have things that we're good and bad at, but a lot of times, however people meet me, like if they meet me as the author, or if they meet me as the podcaster, or if they meet me doing an ice water bath, that's all they know about me, but they don't know. I'm like, oh, girl, I'm an onion with like 40 layers. I have all these different things. So I could see that, I could see how people categorize their horse into one
very generalized thing. Yeah.
Well, but here at with us owning a trail riding facility, it's called Von Holten Ranch. Man, I have seen, I don't know, Arabians that were so freaking calm, and everybody thinks, oh, it's an Arabian, it's going to be high strung. I've seen them be babysitters for older people. Yep. I have seen, everybody thinks ponies are horrible. I have seen some bad mama jamma ponies do some cool stuff. And everybody thinks that draft horses are going to be docile. I've seen some non-docile draft horses.
Absolutely.
So, people need to be careful about categorizing them and then have higher expectations, I think, for their animals in general. So,
absolutely.
Well, tell me, have you been doing last time I talked to you, I think you were getting ready for this, like, America's Greatest Cowgirl or something like that. But I don't remember the name of that event.
So it was World's Greatest Horsewoman.
Okay.
Put on by Art of the Cowgirl. And that was out in Buckeye, Arizona, was where we competed that year. Okay. 2020.
All right. What are you competing in now?
So now I'm showing a little bit in the reined cow horse industry. We've got some local organizations here in Texas and around, but I showed at the NRCHA Snafflebit Futurity last October and had a wonderful time. My horse was lovely and had a great show. We didn't place or win, but he came away from it really happy and feeling really good and confident, and that was the goal. The goal was not to go out there and knock the doors down and win. It was purely to develop this really nice young horse and test our skills a little bit and see where, in 2 years' time training him from start to there, where do we stack up? So it was great.
Okay. Now then, you have started a breeding program. So tell me, what do you have on the ground and what do you have coming up, and what made you decide on what to breed and why?
Yeah. So I've got, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 babies over the last 4 years. And they all came about because I realized that I needed a little bit better athlete than what I could go out and afford to buy like right now. Buying a high-end prospect to compete in a specific event, it costs a lot of money. And I just didn't have that cash sitting around, and I didn't feel confident enough knowing that I could go out and pick one right off the bat. So I thought, well, I've got some nice mares that I know well. I know their history. I know what they are. I'm going to start breeding to a better stallion than what maybe those mares are, to try to produce a better foal that could raise my level of training and showing ability.
Okay.
And I also thought, well, if these horses don't make show horses, I'm totally okay with that. I'll have a really nice young horse that I know everything about from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And I bought a lot of project horses through the years and didn't know their history and sold them on. And it was always this like wondering, like, what did you go through? Like, what was your life like prior to coming to me? And I didn't always like that because it just leaves you wondering, and then it makes you judge. It makes you judge what maybe happened. Well, we'll never really know in some cases. So raising these babies, I know everything about them, and it's been so fun to rear them up and educate them and enjoy them along the way. So I bred 2 mainly cow horse stallions. So the first full crop was a Travelin' Jones, who Chris Dawson competed and showed. I don't know all of his accolades. You can look him up. He's a very nice bay stallion. Mm-hmm. I got a filly out of him, and then a colt by CSR Dual Glow, who is a rope horse sire. He himself is a AQHA world champion. And this is a funny story. I had a little bit of wine one night, and I was horse shopping. Mm-hmm. It's probably never a good idea, but we all do it, right? And I saw this auction. It was a stallion services auction, and it was benefiting like a youth, cow horse program. And I thought, oh, cool. So clicked on it, found this horse, looked at this picture of CSR Dual Glow, and he's beautiful. He's won performance halter points in AQHA, and so he's gorgeous, and he's an athlete and all the things. And I bid on him, and bid pretty low, like thinking, oh, there's no way. And it's one of those automatic bidding things that it'll go up to your highest dollar amount and then it stops. And if somebody has a higher dollar amount, it goes beyond you. Well, a couple days later, I'd forgotten about this, thought, oh, there's no way. I won that breeding to him. Oh, so I have a colt by CSR Dual Glow that actually my mom purchased from me a year ago. We call him Romeo. He's lovely. He packs my mom around as a 3-year-old and goes to all the shows. He's already won versatility championships. He's amazing. So yeah, that was a funny story, but a fun one as well. He turned out great. And then the next year's full crop was a Hickory Holly Time colt. And Hickory Holly Time is owned by Dean Tufton of DT Quarter Horses. And I actually start some colts for Dean for his rope horse program. So that's been really cool. I bred to him before I was hired by Dean, but it just worked out wonderful that was a coincidence. He is a 3-year-old right now, so we don't really know exactly what he'll be. He's only had about a year of training and probably won't show him like at Snaffle bit this year. We'll just keep riding him and enjoying him. He's a very big colt, so he could probably be a great rope horse. And Colden rides him a good bit, so that's wonderful. And the other filly of that full crop was by Platinum, Dunnett and Platinum. And Pumpkin, from that previous podcast, Pumpkin was the Coley's sister who I showed at Snafflebit Futurity in 21.
Okay.
And she was wonderful. She's actually bred right now. She's due for a baby in the next 2 months. So same daddy as Pumpkin, Stella. Stella actually, unfortunately, had a small injury, and I sold her to a friend, and she's going to use her as a brood mare, so it made me quite happy.
Okay.
And then, the next two, the third foal crop, this was when I went go big or go home. So I bred to a horse called Stevie Ray Vaughan, who is probably the number one rein cow horse sire at the moment. I think his books this year are full for like 2 to 3 years. His stud fee is $10,000. He went his first foal crop. He had a futurity champion, which was a big deal. He's probably going to surpass Metallic Cat as, the performance sire of all time leader or whatever.
Wow.
So I got in on Stevie Ray Vaughan when he was only like $4,000 stud fee. But that was a stretch. Like, that was a really big deal to spend that amount of money. Like, oh my gosh, anything can happen. That's a lot of money. And I'm so thrilled I did, because I got Stevo is what we call him. And he's a beautiful red roan colt. I still have him a stud, and he is about to get started under saddle.
Okay.
So that is my next big, exciting, up-and-coming horse that I will probably aim for Snaff Futurity in 2 years.
Okay, so
and there's a couple other babies on the ground still, and they're super exciting as well. They're very nice. It's been very fun. You've got a baby too.
Oh man, I do have a baby, but my baby's not cool like yours. Yours are like,
oh gosh, they're all cool.
Well, yours is like the baby's daddy's gonna surpass like the best baby's daddy in the world, and I'm over here like, I chose okay. So my husband's not a cowboy. My husband's a woodworker, right? And he likes pretty horses, so I got him a leopard Appaloosa off of Facebook.
Yeah,
and
of course.
She was horrible. But then I figured out she was just all bark and no bite. But it took me 6 months not to be afraid of her. Like, I mean, like literally, but it just turns out she had a bad attitude, but she won't back it up. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I want my husband to ride with me, and he's over 50, my husband is. And so I'm like, well, man, he loves that mare. I'm going to breed that mare. And he likes polka dots and all sorts of craziness. So I bred 2 leopard Appaloosas. And my baby ain't got no spots. Oh, we got the spotless horse. That baby was born black, okay? She was born black with these white circles around her eyes. So I was like, it looked like white eyeliner from the freaking 80s, okay? And then she changed color. She went from black to bread mold, and now she's all gray. And then she has 2 pathetic spots that are not spots. They're just like, it looks like static electricity in 2 spots. And I'm like, oh my God. But we had already named her because we have these ladies that come to Chicks in the Sticks. Well, this lady came with a leopard Appaloosa, and it had the name of Domino. Well, my husband just thought that was so cool, because he's not a cowboy, right? So we'd already named it Domino, no matter if it was boy or girl. And then we got the spotless freaking Appaloosa, but I know they change colors and stuff like that because she's already changed colors 3 times on us, and she's not even a year old.
Every time they shed a coat, some of those come out different. So you just wait, because you might get more spots than what you think. Because isn't she just a yearling?
She's not even a yearling yet. I mean, she's I don't know, 7 or 8 months old right now. Like,
oh yeah. You just wait.
She's exhausting.
Just wait. You might be surprised.
Okay, she's exhausting. Like, she has she's ran me over twice, not like I'm not a plus-size woman, and she's like, I'm mad. She has kicked the living crap out of me twice, and I'm like, girl, I will go bonquiqui on you like so freaking fast. And, but she's coming around where she wants to know what I'm doing now. But I have had to be firm with her because she's one of those, if she was a human, she would either be a business leader or she would be like, she would be in charge of a gang in prison. Okay, like I don't know where her strength is going to end up at, but I'm going to make sure that I try everything to make her be a good citizen. But she's kind of bad. And
no.
But man,
she'll come around.
She's big. I mean, I can't believe how big she is. Came from 2 leopard Appaloosas. So I was going to breed my other childhood mare. And the reason that we want 2 babies on the ground is because I'm trying to get what could be my last horse, right? I'm not very old, but if I get a good horse, I'm thinking, you know what, my husband, let him ride 20, 25 years. We've got him a baby. We'll call it good, But he loves that. He loves Domino, okay? And I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to make him love her enough to, like, be part of the journey, and then maybe he'll ride with me, okay? And then, we see that all the time. Most of our clients at our trail facility are women, and they have husbands that don't like horses,
Yep.
And then I was going to breed my favorite horse. I used to do a bunch of fighting. Well, my fight name was Glamour with the Hammer, and I named my horse Glamour with the Hammer. We just call her Glamour. But I'm not going to breed her. She's kind of bad. Like, she gets too anxious, and she gets tummy aches and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't think you're not breeding quality. But that leopard Appaloosa that we have, this baby turned out great. It's got good conformation. Yep. She's big. She's got good muscle. So I'm going to breed her, but to a very nice quarter horse instead of another leopard Appaloosa. And you know what? We'll probably end up with spots. As soon as I breed it to something without spots, I'll probably get spots.
Right. So, exactly.
But, you know what? At our Chicks in the Sticks, we have an activity. We'll either do a painting class or we'll make horsehair jewelry. We always do an activity, okay? Well, at one of the Chicks in the Sticks last year, I had an animal communicator come from like Indiana, and so I had to. She made good money. Okay, by the way, there's a lot of good money in that, and a lot of people really lock in on those animal communicators. Some people think it's junk, and some people won't even buy a horse until they've had this animal communicator talk to them and the horse. Okay, so I don't care wherever you're at on that spectrum, but we hired one just because that's what our clients wanted. Well, I did not reach the minimum that she needed for talking to animals, because we had to pay per one, right? So I had her communicate to all of my animals. Okay, well, she communicated to Domino. And there was another baby here, another foal here, and the other foal was just like, I like walking through the water, and I like my mom. Like, it was like little kid talk. And then that other foal would interrupt whenever she was trying to talk to older horses, right? And it wasn't her turn. But Domino was just like, David's my favorite. Brandy is unmovable. And Brandy is like firm, and David is my friend. And I'm like, you know what? That's great. I'm glad that she thinks I'm immovable, according to that. But and then she said that Domino didn't sound like a baby. She sounded like an old soul. And I'm like,
oh,
cool. And then my other animals, Jojo, my mule, the one that I do mounted archery off of, he cusses like a gangster. And so, and says that he likes to mess with me, but he like loves us. And says that I need to be more forward whenever we're going uphill. And then Glamour, my favorite mare, that's kind of, a mare, says that she's bored and wants to do more stuff with cattle and like wants to see the world. And then I think that was kind of cool. My cat introduced the lady to my barn and said, welcome to my barn. They built this for me. It's like my 14-year-old cat. So it's just funny. And then my old gelding, he was just like, he didn't really feel like talking. but he told her that, because I'm afraid my mule is going to kill my foal because he attacks her every time they're in the pasture. And my old gelding told me that he doesn't think the mule's going to actually kill her. Like, he's just trying to, like, not be on the bottom of the totem pole and just trying to set the tone. And I'm like, but we still don't have my little filly in there until she's at least a year old. So, and then we're going to be around. It's been I actually wrote an article for Mules and More magazine about steps we're taking to protect our filly from my dang mule. So
yeah, interesting.
Anyways, yeah, our stories are totally different. I'm on the low end, you're on the high end of that for sure. But that's okay. You know what though? I've had people offer me big money for my animals, and that's just because they see me do everything with them. And you know, this year at the Midwest Horse Fair, which is like one of the largest horse expos, I was the clinician with the most presentations, and they had me do 8 different things with mounted archery, and I shot off of my mule Jojo, and he's just a crowd favorite, even though he's a goofball. But and then I sell I sell a complete line of mounted archery equipment and wrote a manual, and that's at Horsemanship with Brandy. But okay, so let's talk about things that you and I have in common, okay, besides waistlines, because there's like 2 of you to equal me, plus probably another bag of feed. Okay, so you're a smaller person / average, and then I'm larger right now, but we have done some things on the same health journey. So you're my ice bath friend. So instead of telling me I'm crazy, you're just like, oh, I'm so glad you're doing those because you've been doing those for a while. And then carnivore. I'm on a carnivore kick right now. I'm loving it. And you have had some positive experiences with carnivore. So let's talk about ice water baths and carnivore for a little bit. So what's your ice water bath experiences like?
So the first time I did one was at the Journey on Podcast Summit with Warwick and Robin Schiller. We signed up to do an evening guided attempt at an ice water bath. I was terrified. I actually had to psych myself up to actually go and show up and do it. I really, really did not want to do it, and had made it such a big deal in my head that it was going to be almost like the hardest thing I've ever done. And it absolutely was not. So, the first pool I got in, I think was 55 degrees. And I mean, just was a basket case in my head, got talked in, got in there. And after the 2 minutes, I got out and I was like, that's it? I hate to say it, but I was very underwhelmed because I had, in my head, I thought I was going to die, or this is going to be the worst experience of my life. And I got out and I was like, I'm strong. I'm really effing strong and tough, and I can do hard things. And so the end of the night, there was 20 of us gals. The end of the night, Work's like, hey, how about you get in the colder tub? That one was too easy for you. You didn't even you didn't lose your breath. You didn't struggle. Get in this colder one. And it was 44 degrees. And that one was definitely tougher, but it boosted my confidence in my mental self. It might be miserable, but it's temporary.
Oh, yeah.
And I can overcome hard things. So that was the biggest mental thing for it, was just, I knew I could do hard things, but you know what? Sometimes we choose not to. And
there's a book
I think we live this life of so much comfort and luxury, and we're always at the right temperature, and all the things, and everything's climate controlled. So we've never put ourselves in those situations. So that was big on the mental. And then the physical benefits, oh my gosh, you get such a dopamine hit, right? When you get out, and you feel like $1 million freaking bucks. So what I typically do is first thing in the morning, I've got literally a tub just like you right outside the door. And when it's cold out like this time of year, I go out, first thing in the morning before I do anything else, because I'm one of those people that I will make excuses up all day and into the night and then just go, nah, I won't do it. But if I get up and do it first thing in the morning, it's done. It's knocked out. It's not a procrastination. It's a task checked off. And, you know, I'm a horse trainer. I wake up stiff and sore, and my back hurts and my neck hurts and knees and ankles and wrists and just all the things. Like everybody, like we've all got those aches and pains. And when you get in that ice bath first thing in the morning or any time of day,
right.
When you get out, I literally feel like I've done a 30-minute stretching and warm-up routine.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
my
it helps
body
with pain.
feels, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And inflammation just everywhere is knocked back. And what else? Oh gosh, the weight loss benefits, which I think are small, but still, it reignites your body's internal furnace. So what I've noticed, it's been a couple years.
I haven't lost any weight doing an ice water bath, so I don't want people to think
right.
to do it for weight loss. Don't do that.
No. But there is some research that talks about the white fat and the brown fat. I don't know where I saw it or what article it was, but if you research brown fat and white fat, there is something that cold water does stimulate. It either stimulates a chemical to release that goes to combat some of that, because, I didn't lose weight from doing that, but it's changed some things that I can't quite explain that I'm sure some scientist has already figured out.
It makes you a better person physically
absolutely.
And mentally.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So it was really cool. And then now it's turned into, I don't get in one every single day, but it's definitely a mood booster. When I get to thinking I don't really feel like it, I'm like, time to go do it. Work on that self-discipline, work on your mental toughness, go do the hard things.
So
because it'll make you make better choices in life in general.
So 2 things. There's a book called The Comfort Crisis.
Yeah.
And I have read that
book.
book.
That was a great book.
Well, I loved half of it. The other half of it I hated. But the half, because he would tell you some stuff, and then he would talk about how he's getting ready for this trip to Alaska for a month
you didn't?
something.
I love that part. It made me want to go on that. And then I was like, nah, I don't really hunt, so I don't care.
I was just like, just tell me the other stuff. I don't care about your trip to Alaska. But it helped put it into perspective and stuff like that. But the comfort crisis talks about, here's this small circle, and this is what we think that we're able to do. But that's kind of like a donut hole, like the hole of a donut. But what we're capable of is so much greater. Well, we have forgotten that, and we have gotten weak. And it's making us de-evolve. You know what I mean? We are amazing. Your human body is just amazing, and we are muffling it and not letting it reach these limits of what it's capable of doing, because we are now putting ourselves into this small circle. So there's that. Then I did 300 ice water baths in 2023. And I have a biology degree. I used to be a scientist, and I taught all sorts of science classes, even on the college level before. Well, you've got to show me. I need to observe things. You can't just, you can tell me, but then I'm just like, nah, let me go find out for myself, okay? So anyways, I did 300 in a year, and then I documented all the things that I've seen, and that is, I put that on my website. My website is brandyvonholten.com, and my last name is VonHolten, Von Holten, and I have a health journey on there. And then I also have some doctors that have come on there and talk, I've got some videos about what they say, but then you get to see what I actually seen in that 300 ice baths. And I'm not trying to do them every day now. I'm trying to do a 6-month health reset right now. And I'm doing 4 a week until it gets too hot in the summer and it's just a pain in the butt to try to do. And then I'll probably do way less, because I've got to put so much ice in there. So there's ice water baths. I highly recommend them. And my doctor actually recommends them. I found that there's 2 different types of doctors. There are doctors that they get educated, but then they actually do their own research and they're open to some of this holistic stuff. And then there's other doctors that are like, this is what I learned in medical school. This is what the book said. This is what we do. And that other stuff is crazy. Yeah. So I dismiss those doctors and I say yes and embrace medical doctors that are open to holistic stuff as well. So I've got a good doctor right now. So let's talk about carnivore. So will you explain to someone the basics of carnivore?
Sure. And what I understand, I'm sure there's much more research out there. Google is a wonderful tool. Carnivore is maintaining a diet based around animal byproducts. So meat, eggs, dairy products, anything that comes from an animal, to my knowledge, is considered carnivore. Mm-hmm. So you're leaving out anything, all the plants, all the things that grow in the ground, vegetables, fruits, leaving out all that. That would be like the tried and true actual carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. Grains, anything that grows and is a plant is out. And I'm like you, I'm not a hardcore 100% carnivore, but I am on the much higher end of eating mostly animal proteins and closer to more beef, more red meat than even chicken, more than eggs, more than the dairy. We raise cattle. We have half Wagyu and working on 3/4 Wagyu. Calves are being born right now. And so we've got easy access to meat, which is lovely. But it's made me be able to experiment with that. And I swear to you, I dropped 25 pounds. I feel amazing. My body shape and condition is better. I have more energy. I don't get sluggish during the day. I sleep great. I feel like I've healed my gut. And what I mean by that is I have had a sensitive gut since my early 20s. Carbs in breads, anything that had artificial preservatives, certain, even down to like sometimes nuts would bother me. I had reflux for a couple years, like just was really irregular in my bowel movements, like just never felt really good. Like I was always bloated. My belly hurts. I don't feel good. I don't get any of that now. And it is a freaking miracle, it feels like. And the only thing that I can attribute it to is sticking to a mostly carnivore diet.
Okay, so I did carnivore for 14 days, and the highest I ever weighed was actually last year, and I weighed in at 333. Well, with doing carnivore for 14 days, just because I wanted to try it, because I will tell you, it's hard for me to accept. It's hard for me to say, okay, I'm only going to eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And, I'm like, that goes against everything I ever learned and everything I ever taught as a science teacher. And I'm like, man, this is going to clog my arteries. I'm going to die from a heart attack. I'm going to have high cholesterol. And I went from 333 to 314 in 14 days. Okay.
Yep.
And then I quit it. We had our state fair. So that was like corn dog time. And then I went through like a high stress moment whenever I thought we were going to sell our Century Farm. And girl, I gained that weight back. Boom. Back up to 329. Okay. Well, now currently, whenever we're doing this podcast, it's January. And I didn't start on January 1 because we were traveling home. So I was still on vacation, holiday vacation. Okay, so I started on the 2nd. Within the first 7 days, I have already lost 5 pounds. But for the last 2 days, so this is day 6 or day 5 and day 6, right? Of that first week, I slept the whole night through, except for one time to get up and pee, because I'm a nighttime peer. But I don't sleep well. Okay. But I have slept all the way through. I feel good. I have a surge of energy, and I don't have acid reflux. And I'm in the beginning of carnivore. So I'm going to document again what's going on, but I am very publicly documenting that right now, and people are interested. And I have it on my Facebook page, my TikTok, my YouTube channel, and Instagram. And it's Brandy Von Holten, author, speaker, instructor. So on Facebook, you'll just find Brandy Von Holten. That's just me, like personal me. But then I have a professional page. And that thing went up by 21,000 followers in 3 days of me sharing what I'm eating. And I'm also doing ice water baths. But people want to know the truth, and we have been lied to. We have been lied to about our nutrition. And I mean, it should be criminal. The way that they market children to put folic acid into them, you know, with all the, why does wheat need to be enriched? Why does it need to be bleached? Like, why? But we think that that's normal. Somebody's head needs to roll for that stuff because they're unaliving us. You know, I don't know if I can say
So you said something the other day about, you know, you felt like maybe you were eating too much or the volume it just felt so much different. But can you go into what made you feel like that?
Well, you know, back in the day, whenever everybody's always told me, well, girl, you need to eat less and exercise more. No. I was an Olympic hopeful, and I have fought in 5 countries, and I have always been told to eat less and exercise more. I don't think most people could hang with me. Okay.
No.
I exercise a minimum of 4 days a week. Okay. So whenever I was eating these meals, and like I had 2 steaks with some cream cheese and some butter, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of calories. But you know, the whole concept of a calorie is stupid because it has nothing to do with human metabolism. That right there is how much heat it takes to burn it in like a scientific setting. It's not the human body. So I'm just like, I was worried that I'm eating too much, but the weight is coming off. And I know that you're on carnivore, your body goes, instead of eating, you know, and working off of sugars, is now burning fat. And I'm like, burn baby burn. I got some big old boobies and a big old muffin top, girl. I'm like Queen Muffin Top, and I'm ready for that to be gone. But I notice people, they get where they don't want to eat 3 meals, which there's no reason for us to eat 3 meals. The way the human body works is sometimes just you should eat when you're hungry. But I have got that into a routine, thinking I need to eat 3 meals a day. And you know, in the past, I thought I needed to starve, or I thought I needed to eat 12, 15, 1,800 calories. But all I was doing, even when I was reducing those calories, I was still eating the poisons and things that are bad for our body. So And the carbs that were the quick spike of energy, your body craves those because that's the easiest, quickest thing that it can burn for fuel and sugars. And so you would refuel up to get the energy, but it would store all the extra, and you'd never get to a fat burning zone consistently, you know, because it really needs to be consistently. So what I found is I am more satiated, which was actually a word that I had to look up a couple months ago. So I was like, what in the heck is that? Because of what I eat now, and I find that definitely on the red meat side, I feel like, and this is personal, I feel so much more full, and I stay full longer. And then I don't feel like I get ravaged to eat something else. And so for me, like, I've found that the red meat is really good. I tried bacon and eggs, and the eggs are great, but bacon and even pork chops don't satiate me. And even chicken. It doesn't stick with me as long, and I get to feeling like I want other stuff. So you get to know your body a little bit better, and everyone's going to be different. So that's been a cool journey that I'm sure you're going to find different meals and foods are going to stay with you longer. And then it turns into, well, I'm really not hungry yet. So I don't need to eat. I don't have to eat because somebody told me I need to. You know, so I'm so excited for you in this journey. Yeah. With you being more of a longer doer of carnivore, and then with me being at the beginning, I'll tell you at the beginning, first couple of days, I got constipated, and then I got anti-constipated, where I was like, I got to be close to a bathroom. And now, within at the end of this first week, everything's back to normal. So I know everybody's always asking me about, like, they're wanting to know, like, oh, I bet you're not using the bathroom. And I'm like, no, everything's kind of great. It just took, there was a little bit of a change.
Regulates.
Yeah.
Yes, it regulates back to a more normal state. And similar with me. I went through a very similar experience in that. And I've read something recently. Gosh, I wish I could remember what podcast or book it was. But it talked about, like, when you're eating a carnivore-based diet, your body's actually utilizing more of what it needs to fuel it. And so you're not going to have maybe as much waste. You don't have as much fiber and junk that's getting pushed through. So while, being constipated, like, you definitely had symptoms. I had symptoms. But now, 6 months in, I'm like, not at all. I'm actually better than I have probably ever been since I can remember.
Right. So, well, I know, like, sleeping better and using the bathroom, like, all of that stuff, man, it makes me feel so much better, like getting a good night's sleep and everything. Hey, I had an herbalist, one of our certified herbalists, like, we used to have, my husband and I have Von Holten Ranch. It's a horse trail riding facility that's in Missouri. We've got electric side stalls, cabins, and stuff. And we also had a wedding venue that we had built, because we've had this farm has been in the same family since 1906. We bought it in 2013, opened in 2014, and then we had some buildings that we took down and made into a wedding venue. So we did weddings for 5-6 years, and decided we didn't want to do those anymore. After COVID, we started doing homesteading classes. Okay. Now, we won Missouri's Best Place to Get Married in 22 and 23. And then you think in 24, we'd be like, yeah. And then we're like, no, we don't want to do weddings. We want to do homesteading classes. So we have these in-person classes about holistic medicines and making your own stuff. And then we have, like, people come in and teach canning and teach foraging and teach gardening. We have all these different classes, right? Because that's what's in tune with us. Well, one lady I met, her name is Tiffany Butters, and Tiffany Butters is a certified herbalist, okay? And her classes have been my most full, other than my Mennonite lady, Miss Mariella, that comes in and teaches all sorts of canning and cooking, okay? So I was talking to Tiffany the other day, and she's a carnivore person, okay? But she says that she views vegetables and stuff and herbs as, like, supplements that, for whatever your ailment that you have. Yeah. Or she views vegetables as kind of like, if you can't get to the red meat, it's kind of like a space filler until you can get to that.
Sure.
But her and her husband, like, when you look at them, I mean, like, good God, they are fit. They're fit. Their skin is beautiful. They are just like the picture of what you would view of health. And they're mostly, I mean, the husband, she likes to not be carnivore as hardcore, but her husband likes carnivore, and they're just so healthy. So, like, whenever I look at people and they're healthy, I want to pay attention. But I also want to look to see if they're happy, because a lot of people can appear to be healthy, but they're using all this synthetic food, fake food, and maybe they're smaller. But whenever I see people that are actually healthy, you can tell their skin is not dry. Even their hair looks better, and I keep on, every person that I keep on being like, wow, you are super healthy and you're happy. They're typically my carnivore people. So.
Cool.
Hey, so tell me right here. So we have ice water baths in common. We have carnivore. You're ahead of me on those. We've got baby horses running around. And what do you think helps you the most with achieving and going forward, and with keeping your mind right.
And with say that again, keeping what?
Your mind right, like your mental mindset.
Oh, my mind right.
What keeps you churning and, chugga, choo-choo, like going forward with your goals?
Yeah, great question. I think in the last couple of years, it has been finding a really good sense of purpose. I feel like my purpose is to help horses live a better life and educate people along the way how to make their horse's life better. And I really, truly believe that's what my purpose is on this earth. I don't intend to have kids. I'm not married, although I have a wonderful partner, Holten, of 8 years, and have a whole slew of other animals. But honing into that purpose and being okay with that purpose and not fitting into all the societal norms has been finally accepting that and being okay with me as me and doing me has been how I keep my mental focus on the path and keeping the drive up. And changing my horse training program to a program that I now really enjoy because my horses are happy and they're happy to see me. Like, I'm the trainer. A lot of times the trainer is like the bad guy, right? Like, we come around and rough them up and say, rah, 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 you're not doing all this right. I think my horses like me more now than they almost like me. Like, some horses like little kids and they just could just hang out with them and they're so gentle and they just know. Horses are starting to act like that around me as an adult trainer that's like educating them, starting them under saddle, doing those big, scary first time things. The way I go about it now, and the way I feel and the empathy that I have for horses learning something new, is like something exciting to wake up to every day and go see what adventure me and the 20 horses that are here get on today. And so just getting more comfortable with myself and what I'm doing with my life and not comparing myself to other trainers or clinicians or anything else. Age is a wonderful thing. We all go through stages and realizations and acceptances of things. And I feel like I'm just in a spot where I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I just encourage people to, if you're not happy where you're at or you're not happy with what you're doing, you can change that. You can make small choices to change your situation. And that power of choice gives you the ultimate power over your happiness. So.
Okay. Wow, that's a great answer. Man, for me, I have always felt like I did not fit in. I always felt like I always just felt like the fat girl, and I always just felt like I was lesser, but now, I don't know, the more that I be just who I am and I don't muffle that and I tell people like I've got a place for you, like I'm an includer. I include people and stuff, and people are drawn to that. Not chubby people, not skinny people. Just everybody is drawn to. I'm not this negative person. I'm a positive person, and I want you to just whatever you want to do. I want to help you do that. But I don't know. I feel like because I am also a childless woman. I am married. We've been married for like 20 years, or be 20 years this year. But and we don't have kids. But man, I feel like I'm mama bear to everybody, and I want I love horses. I love horses, and I love the whole cowboy way of life. And so my role in it is to become like I don't know, I'm not about the elitist. I'm always about the trail rider. I'm about the people that they don't really fit in other places. And I'm just like, you fit in with me, And,
Brandy, let me just say, Brandy, we've only met one time in person,
Right.
but we've talked a bunch and follow each other on social media. And like, I love cheering for you.
Yay.
You are an inspiration. Like you're always doing something. You always have a new innovation. You always have a new like thing that you're working on, and it inspires me from afar. Like I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, she has such great ideas. And then you go and execute them. You know how hard that is for some people to do? They might have an idea and then they just squash it down and sit on it, and then, it's too hard. Nothing is too hard for you that I have seen. You get back up and you go again, and you do the effing deal. You do the deal, and it is, oh God, it's inspiring. Like I love following you. So
and you know
just wanted to say that because you should feel amazing about yourself.
Oh, and I tell you, the more I do, the more I feel. It's an aging thing. It's natural maturation. Like I'm 45 right now, and I'm just like, I love being 45. And I'm like, what am I going to try to do before I'm 50? Then I'm like, man, okay. Well, like this year, I have goals for 2025, but a lot of people are like, how do you keep going? And man, it comes down to my daily routine. And I have to, whenever I don't have motivation, I depend upon my routine to kind of like drag myself through the day, and then I get motivated again. Okay. But there are days that I'm not, but my habits become my routine, and then my routine becomes who I am. And those habits are in there. But I have, like, I made goals, but a lot of people always make goals, but then they don't like put it into their daily actions. So like this year, I'm looking at my goal sheet right in front of me. I want to weigh 259. So I put underneath that goal what I have to do that. And then I put that into my routine. Like I write it down. Like underneath that, I'm doing a 6-month health reset because I really want to focus for 6 months. Okay. Then I'm doing a vlog. So instead of taking a million pictures, I'm taking a video of all of my foods, but then I share that. I share that every day because it makes me, sometimes I have trouble showing up for myself, but I will show up. If I tell people I'm going to do something, then there'll be a cold day before I don't. So that's what I'm doing. Then I have my 4th children's book coming out, and I have to time block so much per day until I get that thing done. I want to have so many guests at our homesteading expo. It's June 20th and 21st, and I have all sorts of presenters. Well, I have daily things that I have to do and weekly things, and I actually grade myself, okay? And then I want to have so many subscribers to our magazine, which you are a contributor to that. That's called Country Tough Times. It's a magazine dedicated to trail riders, patriotism, and thriving during these country tough times. People can they can find that at countrytoughtimes.com and read Megan's article. I have 3 competitions I want to do this year. One of them, I want to go back to the AAU National Championship, and I want to win a heavyweight fighting title. So I'm training for that. Last year, I used to fight. I fought for 23 years, and then I took off 10 years to build Von Holten Ranch. Then I started fighting again last year. Last year, I came in second at regional qualifier. Then I went to nationals, and I got my butt handed to me by this girl that's like 6'3" Nigerian from New York. Oh my Lord. She painted the town with me. Oh my God. So it was humbling. And luckily I didn't bleed, but she blacked the side of my eye and my mouth. Like, oh my God, I actually liked the way it looked, but my lip line was bruised. It looked like I had like I had done like tattooing on my lips. But
holy moly.
So we had to assess the situation, and I've got to go back. So I'm doing that. There's this race that combines 4 things. You have knife throwing, you have archery, you have an obstacle competition, but then you also have this thing where you have to run like wide open on your horse around this big freaking hayfield, and they combine your score. well, I want to win it.
Oh.
And so I'm doing that race on my mare Glamour because I'm scared to death to run a horse wide open around a hayfield. And so I chose to do that competition because it scares me. The fighting doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
I've been a fighter I fought in all these different countries as a heavyweight, and I'm not afraid of fighting. But I'm afraid of opening my horse up and just being like, I want her to be nose out, freaking ear. I want her to have her ears pinned, which she will already have them pinned because she's evil.
Yeah.
And I want that tail out, and I want to freaking spank her and be like, give me the next gear. Like, I want that, but I'm scared to death of it. And then,
oh, but that's so good. You know what that's called?
What?
It's called, you're on a misogi. I hope I pronounced that right. I might have to look that up. A misogi is you're going after something that you either might not be able to finish or accomplish, or you're scared to. You are pressing the boundary of what you feel like you're capable of. So Colton and I are doing something similar at some point, hopefully this year. We're going to go do the Grand Canyon rim to rim. And I had this thought the other day. I was like, I think we can do rim to rim actually pretty, not easily, but we can do that in a day. But can we do rim to rim to rim? And I was like, ooh, that sounds like a misogi. We might not be able to finish that.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about it. I've never hiked like that. I've never gone and camped in the wilderness. There's like so much going on that I have to try to figure out how to get this done. And then on top of it, can we get it done? So that's your misogi for the year.
Okay. I have two other goals. One is I've been on the cover of 6 magazines since 2014 or 15, I don't know. But my 7th magazine cover is, I'm supposed to be on there for my 4th children's book. Me and the mule named Coco and the family that has her now. Her book is about how not all scars are visible. And she had like a ligament issue. And ultimately, I trade her for all the kitchen equipment that we needed for our homesteading. But I traded her to a family that had a little 4-year-old boy pass away in their family, like he drowned. But then that family needed some healing, and they needed an amazing animal, and I traded them Coco for the kitchen equipment that they have, but it's about not all scars are visible. So I'm supposed to be on the cover of a magazine for that, and then with Country Tough Times, I don't know if I want to be like the 4th or the 5th edition. There's 6 editions in a year, but I want to do and introduce the person behind it. But we own the Century Farm, and we won Missouri's Best Ranch, and I think it'll be a good story because it's about, I think I want to tell our 10-year story and things that have gone on behind the scenes that people don't know.
Heck yeah.
So I want to do that. So that's my 7th and 8th magazine cover. And then I want to go to the EXCA, the Extreme Cowboy Association. I want to win their world championship, and they have a mule division. But my mule is not really into obstacles. I mean, he's a mounted archery mule, but that's kind of a lazy thing for him because he's just got to run the straight line, and there's like parameters. He's not really into obstacles, but I'm going to be like, you're going to get into obstacles. So he's kind of scared of stuff, and I've had him for a while, but girl, we had hogs for just 2 weeks during COVID, and he is still afraid of where we had those dang hogs.
He hadn't forgot.
Oh, he has not forgotten, and he is not easy. Everybody thinks JoJo is so easy. No, he really excels at some things, and obstacles is not one of those things. So those are my goals for the year. And, I do things that scare me because I feel like if I don't, I feel like I'm going to start getting old in my head and getting where I'm fearful to do things. So I push myself because I don't want to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So... There's that. Okay, so Megan, how do they find you?
So I'm on Facebook. I've got a personal page, which is just my name, MagenWarlick. And then I've got a business page, Magen Warlick Horsemanship. You can reach me on email, which is also my name, Magen Warlick @gmail.com. Phone number, address, we can put those in the show notes. And reach out whatever way is most convenient for you.
Okay. And then if anybody wants to get in touch with me, I mean, like if you want to look up, if you look up my last name, just Von Holten, VonHolten, you'll find Von Holten Ranch. And then I'm Brandy Von Holten, and wherever you want to look for me, you can find me. Okay. I'm there, and I'm probably going to be in a bathing suit getting into an ice water bath that's in a round water trough. Okay.
I don't know how you talk through that. You're tough.
Well, sometimes, you know what? Like right now, the water's in the lower 30s. That's pretty rough, but I have to be really pumped up to do it, and then I don't chatter. But whenever I think the water's going to be warmer, and I'll go do like, it might be 55, 58, I chatter and shiver the whole time.
Oh my God, I do the same dang thing. Yeah. I wonder what that's about.
I think
it's got to be mental.
Well, I think because I think subconsciously, oh, this is going to be so much warmer, and then it's not. It's not, and then it messes me up because I wasn't pumped for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I must do the same thing too, because I will just go to shaking when it's in the 50s.
Yep.
And when it's low 40s and 30s, you just zone in and get it on. But
I've had people argue with me saying that there's no way that the water's cold because I'm not shivering, and then I'm like, I'm a hustler, baby. I'm just strong, okay? Like I can handle this. I can do difficult things,
Absolutely.
And everybody can. So look out for Megan's articles in Country Tough Times, and if you would like to get that right there, I have a print and digital, but then I also have just a digital, and and I have so many friends that are Mennonite and Amish. So I made sure that all of the people that advertise in there, that they put more than just a QR code or a Facebook or a website. I make sure that they put at least either a phone number or a mailing address, because then it helps out those communities that don't have the technology stuff that we do, and they really depend upon printed magazines. So think about it for gifts or anything, but man, I've got big dreams and goals for that magazine, and I love what I'm doing. Man, I love what I'm doing, and I hope that y'all love what you're doing. And check out Megan, check out Country Tough Times, or check out Brandy Von Holten. And thank you for tuning into Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten.